Okay, Super Arshdeep redeeming himself in the death overs with a splendid display. Australia could not chase down 161 and they have lost by 6 runs to lose the T20I series 4-1. 4 key takeaways in this. New India, if you look at it, young India.
Not 5?
4 because they won 4 matches. That's why. 4 key takeaways. New India, young India, they have stamped their authority.
I am glad you're getting a week's break before any more cricket comes your way.
Which week's break are you talking about?
Before more cricket comes your way.
No, we are going to see cricket continue in any which way.
Because no?
Huh?
So you got a week's break.
No, the other series also going on. Na? What if Pakistan do some unbelievable things before the build-up of the test match?
Okay.
Remember, Pakistan will do Pakistan things. So that's
David Warner.
David Warner, I mean, if you look at it, Mitchell Johnson went absolutely nuclear at him. That's the term today. Very harsh words. I mean, Johnson's often been prone to such kind of rants. He called the Aussie captaincy gutless. And a lot of people had a lot to say about it. But Australia is a different topic altogether. But here, Arshdeep Singh showing yet again that he still has that mojo of bowling in the depths. He still has it.
More than mojo, I also still has that skill set. Because you had seen enough of him leaking runs at the death that you almost forgot that this is the same guy who used to be a death bowling specialist.
Correct.
Today,
4 runs. Only 4 runs he conceded.
Exactly.
3
10
runs.
to save with the series, by the way, already in your pocket. That tells you how seriously he was taking this last over. Because, 8 times out of 10, you expect bowlers to be like, okay, we won the series.
Yep.
That's the grit of the guy.
Yep. Then you've seen takeaway number 1 is Arshdeep Singh, that he still has the mojo. Takeaway 2, your young batting lineup really stepped up in this series. The likes of Rinku, Yashasvi, Rituraj. Yeah, he is young. I mean, if you look at it, he's 24, right?
No, he's 26. But 26. Young, we're not looking at in terms of age, but international experience.
International experience
has been, dare I say, almost Sanju Samson like in the lack of opportunities he's gotten. He's been impressive in the IPL since 2021.
Yeah.
That means 2020.
Half of 2020.
2021 was when he won the orange cap. Let's get to the title. So 2020, 21, 22, 23. In 22, he was in line to get a few games. Got injured at the worst time. Now he's finally getting that sustained run, and they also do see him as, let's say, a backup in tests as well. That's why he's there, part of the test squad.
Yep.
He was part of the West Indies test squad. He's part of the South Africa test squad as well. So, okay, Ritu aside, a lot of these guys, they're taking it very seriously. Normally, we always talk about, who's going to take a bilateral seriously. A lot of fans switch off, which I understand. For these guys, though, they know full well that, especially, it doesn't matter if you're a bowler or a batter. If you're a batter, there's a specter of, or rather 3 shadows looming over you, of those 3 senior players who, whilst you have supposedly moved forward from, at the drop of a hat can be recalled at any second.
Yeah.
With the bowlers, it's even tougher because that of those 5 fast bowling slots, one is a Hardik Pandya who'll slot him, the other will be Bumrah, Shami and Siraj. That's 4. You're essentially competing for one spot. Whether you're a Mukesh Kumar, whether you're an Arshdeep Singh, whether you're an Avesh Khan, who seems to be writing himself out of that equation more and more. If you go by just this series, you'd say it's between Avesh and Mukesh. And I would give, not Avesh, Arshdeep and Mukesh. And I'll give Arshdeep a slight edge if he discovers this mojo. Why?
Left armour and...
You don't have a left-hand bowler, otherwise a pacer, I mean.
Yeah. So, that's the second takeaway, that this young bowling lineup has done pretty well, and this young batting lineup has
look
done
at
very
Bishnoi.
well. That's the third takeaway that I'm coming to. Yet again, today your spinners, Axar and Ravi Bishnoi, once again stepped up. And especially Axar Patel, if you have to look at it, for the second consecutive game, has had an economy rate of close to 4. And Ravi Bishnoi striking at the power play yet again, and that is the reason why. Did they look at Ravi Bishnoi and the performances against Australia to say that, okay, he's probably done enough to keep Yajuvendra Chahal in the sidelines for the T20 format?
Right now I don't think you need excuses to keep Yajuvendra Chahal out, because in the first place, there was absolutely no merit in that thought. So I don't think...
But he was kept out.
I am I'm just saying, I don't think in the first place you're looking for reasons or justifications. Yuzi Chahal's numbers were good enough. The only thing, let's say, going against Yuzi Chahal was that he wasn't getting enough wickets, but he was still getting ones and twos. He was getting ones and twos, he wasn't getting more than that. That can be the little criticism that you can hold against Yuzvendra Chahal. That's it.
Okay, if you are getting ones and twos, Bishnoi is also getting twos and ones.
Exactly. That is where you'll have to then see.
Now look, today, if you compare it with Raipur was 4 for 33 in 8 overs. Today it was, remarkably if you look at it, 3 for 43 in 8 overs. That's because Bishnoi got a bit of tongue from Tim David and Ben McDermott to a certain extent. But Axar Patel, I mean, the kind of grip that he was getting, the accuracy that he was getting, I mean, it's kind of a surprise that he's not been in the scheme of things in the T20 setup for South Africa. And again, as I said, Axar Patel is in a wrong era. Because of Ravindra Jadeja,
exactly.
Axar can't get a long run.
He faces the conundrum that a DK did back
with
then.
Dhoni.
I'll give you a closer example of in terms of like skill set. Stuart McGill.
With Vaughan.
McGill also was someone who in another era could have played far more tests than the number he did.
Agreed.
But just so happened to be born in the same generation as the greatest leg spinner this
and
game has
if
ever
you
seen.
look at it, if you give the Stuart McGill analogy, in the matches that he played with Vaughan, he actually outbowled Vaughan.
Exactly.
But still, Vaughan was the genius who you just couldn't ignore at this point. So, Axar Patel faces that same conundrum. Look, Axar and Jadeja have played together. It's not as if it's been impossible to fit in both of them. In fact, they have played and they have fitted together. But yet again, that one-dimensional nature of this entire thing. And remember, takeaway number 4 is what I am coming to now. Yes, you won a bilateral. Great. This is your 14th consecutive bilateral series win, if I am not wrong. India are the bilateral kings. We have said it ad nauseum. But it comes with a caveat that each and every time you win a bilateral series, if you do not win a major ICC event, those bilateral series wins are as good as useless. I'll tell you why. Not to demean the players or anything and all that. See, you play bilateral series to build up for the big game in an ICC event. But that was the criticism that we leveled often at South Africa. Remember early 2000s, mid 90s, South Africa were the gun team, having a 3:1 winning ratio over the second best team at that time. But did they win an ICC event? Barring the Wills Trophy of 1998, they haven't won a single ICC event. In the 21st century, they have not won anything. India are threatening to go down the same path. Threatening, I would say.
They have been on the same
No,
path.
threatening.
Why would you?
No, they have already won 3 other ICC events.
But you're looking at a 10-year drought.
But South Africa have had a 25-year drought. Decades matter, eons matter, and remember, you may win a bilateral series, but in this match, 3 instances. 2 full tosses resulted in wickets. A much more experienced Australian lineup could have done it. This is the C team that we're looking at, B and C team. Josh Philippe will not be in the scheme of things. Aaron Hardy may be as one of the backups. Dwarcius may be one of the backups. But not a Sangha or anybody else. They'll all be in the B or the C team. So that's why you can read a lot into the series. I mean, as I mentioned in Raipur, see, it's a good start for Indian cricket. You have to apply some of the apply a balm to the wounds of the World Cup. Different formats, agree, but you did the same thing even after the heartbreak of 2021. You lost to New Zealand in the World T20, but you whitewashed them 3-0 here. Here you lost to Australia in the ODI World Cup final.
Like I said yesterday, I think it's an ineffective balm. Bilateral series are no longer balms for the Indian cricket fan. At least not for me, I would say.
Yeah, there is merit in that. There is merit that, okay, bilateral series wins have no...
And that's not to say that I'm not happy for these boys. And like you said, we've got multiple learnings, not just from this match, but from this series as well. And I get that. And for Indian cricket to move forward, you need these bilateral series to keep happening and these wins to keep coming. Only then will you be making note of your progress, if there is.
You are further enhancing your talent pool that has been provided by the IPL.
Right now, I think the conversation has just come down to meaning business now. Simple as that. I think this doesn't appease the Indian cricket fan. I don't think that this acts as any appeasement. I don't think it acts as any lotion, balm, whatever you want to say.
I agree.
It's expected.
I agree.
It is expected for India to win a bilateral series.
At
Simple
home.
as that.
At home.
That too at home.
But
But also overseas also, they've done it.
And also not just that. See, I'm not looking at it as any sort of a bomb. Look, you lost the final, that hurt. That's a hurt you're going to have to sit with for a while. Sad reality. The only time now, just like in 2019 when you lost that semi, you had to wait 4 years. You're going to have to wait 4 years.
4 years.
Even assuming this young team goes on and wins the World T20, which will be great. But the World Cup is the World Cup. It's the ODI World Cup. So you're waiting till 27 for that bomb to be
The
solved.
balm could possibly come in the month of June next year. That will be a balm. Not everything that happens in between.
The World T20. that-
Yes.
But even that will be at best.
Exactly. Your Asia Cup isn't a balm, sorry.
No.
Your
It never
World
is,
T20
never
will
was.
be a balm. Your Champions Trophy will be a slightly better balm, let's say. Because it's
will
the
be ODI format.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Those are the balms that you can sort of, look at as far as looking for a remedy is concerned or looking for a cure is concerned.
Yep. Okay, now the main topic that we'll focus on is that, okay, see your bowling, if you have to look at it, barring 2021, where every facet failed.
By the way, was that the changing point? Could that have changed things?
No. The wide that was not given.
Even that I don't think did that much.
It was 51-49.
You needed 10 runs
Maybe
and 6 balls.
Wade would have probably had much more confidence to go for the next two.
He was clearly miffed with that
He was
decision.
miffed, and that's his fault. I will blame him there. Even if the wide isn't given, you've got 10 runs and you've got 5 balls. You're telling me you can't hit 2 boundaries and put the pressure back on the bowlers.
I think he let the situation
Exactly.
get
He let his emotions get the better.
Let
of him.
the situation
And that's why he
get
was
better
dismissed
of
for the
him.
first time in the series.
And that's why Matthew Wade was also known as he was one of those people who used to be instructed. I don't know if you've read that book. I'm forgetting who wrote the book. It was that Jeff Lemon, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, Jeff Lemon.
Jeff Lemon had written that book post Sandpaper Gate. And Wade was described as one of those people who would be instructed to bark like a dog behind the stumps.
Yeah.
So, and that's verbatim, by the way. I'm not making this up. It's there in the book.
It's there,
So that is the kind of mentality he has, and I think he let his temper get the better of him. 10 of 5, even with the wide not given, it's easy.
Yeah.
You hit one boundary and the pressure's right back on the bowlers.
It's the same guy who has won a semi-final for Australia single-handedly.
By hitting 4 sixes of all people, Shaheen apparently.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You just and also now the leader. Back then he wasn't the leader.
Yeah.
You expect better from a leader.
See, but yet again, Australia, I think now have found a formula. Don't do well in bilaterals, but do well in major ICC events. I mean, look at it. I mean, they are the classic team to dispel the notion that bilaterals just don't matter.
No, I agree with you. But
Heading into the World T20 of 2021, they had lost 8 out of 10 matches.
Yeah.
4-1 in Bangladesh and West Indies of all people. And to counter that, they were put in the group of death. Australia, England, South Africa, Sri Lanka, West Indies, Bangladesh. That was a group of death. India just had to win 2 games. The rest were all taken care of. But no, India had to lose to both New Zealand and Pakistan. And that to not lose, they were thrashed.
Trashed.
So that's why.
That was, as Shane likes to call it, a shellacking.
That's my word, by the way. But I like to use
co-opted it.
So,
I do it better.
You've not filed for copyright, right?
no, that
Pritham is allowed to lift things.
yeah,
That's his
Pritham
gimmick.
is, yes. So the key takeaway which I'm going to focus on, and it relates to our batting, okay. As Shane mentioned at the start of the broadcast, okay, you got a Shreyas Iyer who did well today with 53, okay. You got a Surya Kumar Yadav who is perpetually undroppable in the T20I format. Although in this series, barring one game, he's actually not had a good series if you look at it with the bat. Captaincy wise, everything's been good. So, but anyway,
This
T20I,
series-
Surya Kumar Yadav is not droppable.
Today also the way he was playing, you knew there was like a fish out of water.
Yeah.
He wasn't
But-
at his best.
But now is the big spectre that is looming. Okay, a Hardik Pandya will have to come back for the balance. Okay, in the IPL, and he will play in the World T20 also. Now you've got the 3 specters that, as Shane pointed out, that's looming over you. KL, Rohit, Virat. The wording of the press release that the BCCI had was shambolic to say the least. They have requested a break. The two of them have requested a break, 1 month break, which we broke on November 22. The official release came out 9 days later stating that, okay, Rohit and Virat have been rested. They have requested rest for the ODI and T20I series in South Africa. Fine. 3 matches gone there of the T20 World Cup preparation.
Yeah.
You don't know whether they are going to come even for Afghanistan. Normally, the veterans don't do this. With this young team, now that's a catch-22. My thing is, and I'll throw the debate open to the both of you, if you get in a Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, okay? Point number 1, if they have fantastic IPLs, Rohit is due for a big IPL after not doing well for 10 years. You cannot ignore Rohit Sharma, number 1. Point number 2, if Virat Kohli comes back, because he will have a great IPL, you can't ignore him also. It will be a mighty brave guy, mighty brave selector to ensure, please don't come back. But point number 3, if Rohit and Virat come back, then it is a slap on this theory called that the IPL is your feeder system for talent. It isn't. Because if your IPL is a feeder system of talent, you don't need to fall back on Rohit and Virat. IPL performances, what is the major problem that I've always had? It's a very fickle yardstick. And Arshdeep, even now, he has to prove his mettle every single time. He's not an established force. Bumrah is an exception to the norm. Kohli and Rohit were made much before IPL. But if Virat, Rohit come back, we are praising all the youngsters here. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant, and that is where my major problem is with Indian cricket.
And if it is irrelevant, then I'd say if you do that, then you're proving that even ICC's success is irrelevant to you. That you don't want that success because you know it, I know it, any ordinary follower of Indian cricket knows it. Your T20 cricket is behind the curve. Simple as. The way you played as a team is behind the curve. And you know what? I can give it to you in writing that even with this young team, we're not winning the T20 World Cup. At least though you'll see genuine progress. If you see the team lose out, it'll be because they lost one too many wickets. Not because they were holding their wicket and hoping for an assault in the death that never came.
You know, right now, I'd like to make this comparison with football, let's say. What does a team do? What does a manager do when you're looking at 90 minutes of playing being closed out, but you're trailing, let's say, 2-1? What do you do right towards the end?
You'll take off one of your midfielders and throw an attacker.
Exactly. You go with your back three because there's nothing to lose now. You will throw everything but the kitchen sink. Indian cricket right now is at that juncture.
You need to throw the kitchen sink.
You need to throw in the kitchen sink. Why? Because you tried whatever convention told you, and perhaps it was good, it was beautiful, but only good enough to take you to the semi-final. Maybe it's not good enough to win you a title. Maybe, and when you say that you want to throw in the kitchen sink, then you do something different. What do? It's a risk approach. It's a high risk approach when a manager takes off a midfielder to put in an attacking player in the mix. This also could backfire, but you need to try.
When was that kitchen sink thrown in Indian cricket?
Never.
That's what.
Once.
So don't say
2007.
Look, it
But
was
that was-
revolutionary
Yeah.
for
Nobody knows
Ganguly
that.
and Tendulkar to back away.
But they backed away. That's the key.
That's the thing.
Because
But at least the
nobody,
kitchen sink could be thrown.
nobody conceived of the World Cup, T20 World Cup as a big thing back then. It was just an experiment at best to begin with.
And even if it was an experiment, there also, and I think it traces the roots back to the issues where you talk about Rohit and Virat requesting a break. The only reason you didn't send the seniors was because they didn't want to go. Not because you as the board were proactive and said, yeah, you know what, this is a format where we need to get youngsters in, let them play fearlessly. You didn't do that, right? Only after you won that World Cup did you say, yeah, you know what, we should probably keep the seniors away. Which is why you never saw Sachin play T20s.
And it needed a strong-headed conviction from MS Dhoni. Because he now had the ammunition. I won you the World T20 with this. Now my decisions will only go.
And see, he backed those up with results. 2007 World T20, 2011 the World Cup, And then 2013 Champions Trophy, he completed the set.
2 times the kitchen sink was thrown in Indian cricket. I'll add not just 2007. You remember the statement that Dhoni, all our senior players are slow in the field.
Of course. That was
Who
ahead
would
of
have had the guts to do it in the previous era?
the CB series when he said that.
2012.
Yeah, nobody would have had.
Yeah.
Again, you need somebody with genuine guts right now.
Who's in that team? No one.
But, I think Ajit Agarkar is that man. I don't quite think, and I'll be the happiest Indian cricket fan if I see Ajit Agarkar
Stick to his guns.
take a stand that is not expected at the moment of any Indian chief selector to have taken.
See, if you have to look at it in this way, okay, Ajit, looking at it in his playing career, was always attacking in that sense. Now, as a selector, what has happened so far? The status quo has remained. What is the status quo? That Rohit and Virat are still in contention. Dravid has gotten an extension, but reportedly for 6 months. That is what we are getting. It's not 6 months, 7 months, if you consider this now. And out of that, he's only going to be the head coach for 3 months. Because the IPL is going to have a significant chunk of that period. As far as the situation with Ajit is concerned, a brilliant cricketer, a very straightforward, straight administrator so far, has been transparent because he's given press conferences explaining the thing and also fronting up to the media each and every time. But as a radical decision maker, I think the sample size is not big enough for Ajit Agarkar to just judge him at this point in time. That's the thing. But I don't think the kitchen sink throwing time is now. Why? Because your seniors themselves have not backed away. If there is a statesman, and you do expect it in the coming month, we hope in January it happens. Because I'll tell you what is happening. If your seniors keep you in a limbo, the youngsters are playing, but then they all know that, oh, they are going to come back. Our position is not clear. Role clarity, momentum, everything is going to get disrupted. That's your kerfuffle that's been having with this T20 team ever since 2021. Virat Kohli and Ravi Shastri destroyed it with their horses for courses. Said, oh, we'll play condition to condition, but they themselves got flummoxed by not picking Yajuvendra Chahal. A orange cap winner or a leading run getter will come into the Indian team without any questions asked, but a purple cap winner will not come in that easily. Just ask Yajuvendra Chahal. Okay? My main concern
Actually,
is...
I'll interrupt you there because even purple cap winners would come in out of nowhere. Don't forget, you had someone like a Arshdeep Patel who gotten seemingly on the basis of winning that one IPL purple cap.
But did he play the World Cup?
He didn't play the World Cup.
That's the thing.
He didn't play the World Cup, but thank God he didn't.
Yeah. And again, I will tell you one more thing. The IPL is where you are going to get most of the players get caught out. Because although the entire world is playing the IPL with you guys, somewhere down the line, the learnings will come. Why do you think Australia, the current crop, are the ultimate statesmen? Mitchell Starc, Pat Cummins. Priorities are clear. We know what to do. India doesn't know what to do. They want to do everything. But they end up doing nothing.
That's because you want to do everything.
You want to do everything. And the IPL is your monster that you've created. And the IPL, the facts are there. You can clearly check it out. After you won in 2007, ever since the IPL was born in 2008, look at your performances in the T20 World Cup.
See, I will again stick my neck out and say it has nothing to do with the other. It's a big coincidence because if you have something that big and if you're not able to use it, that's not the thing's fault, it's your fault. And if you've not been able to harness that talent pool and create one good enough to be dominating white ball cricket, it's not the IPL's fault. The board's fault.
But it was created by whom?
But that's the board's fault. You're backing up my point.
No.
Right now you need just like, okay, in the middle of a football season, let's say, what happens when you have, tournaments happening? Let's say, for example, the Africa Cup of Nations.
AFCON.
Right. What happens then? Do players not choose to play for their for their this thing because they're playing for their franchise or for their club?
No, of course not.
They leave, right? You need probably the flexibility needs to come into IPL as well. if you have a World Test Championship final a week after or 8 days after the IPL final, then those who are certain to play in the World Test Championship final must leave early.
Can't happen.
Won't happen because you've beholden yourself to the
Owners,
Rohit
to
Sharma
the franchises. Again, you will have to find a way out
There is
because
no
IPL, let's accept it. And we can only blame the IPL so much because it is here to stay. There is no, it's not vanishing into thin air. The size of it, the rigor of it is only going to increase. All you need to do is find a way out.
There is no way out.
You'll have to do something about it.
I'll tell you why. The same Rohit Sharma, who was our captain of the Indian ODI side, okay? What did he say? For 2 months, we are hostage to the franchisees.
He didn't say hostage. He said we are owned by the franchise.
Owned.
This is a whole different thing.
Owned.
First.
So, where are your priorities then? A Mumbai Indians or a Chennai Super Kings will release a player for national duty.
Then put it this way. I'll put it this way. We're talking about the IPL and I think we're veering off course. If a Rohit, a Virat and KL are selected, then IPL has nothing to do with it. Stupid decision making does. IPL has nothing to do with it. You know why? Because if you're picking Virat Kohli on the basis of his IPL form, you'd have the common sense to stick him as an opener. He's mostly played as an opener in IPL.
True.
You cannot expect him to play at number.
In the last 2 years,
Last 2 years, by the way, he's been doing phenomenally well as an opener.
Except in 22.
22 he wasn't, because 22 he was doing terribly everywhere.
Overall, yeah.
But last year he had great numbers as an opener. I saw people, bring him back, but role. Are you going to play him as an opener? If you're playing as an opener, be my guest. But are you going to know? You'll be like, Acha, you playing that way. There are अच्छे runs आए. You've got 600 runs at a strike rate of 138. You be our number 3. And you've slipped back to the same template. IPL has nothing to do with it then. That's your insistence that you want a Rohit. You want a Kohli. You're convincing Rohit, boss, please captain in T20s. What is the matter with these people making the decision?
See, the BCCI might be at fault for 2 things. One, the stupid decision making that you have said. But it is because that tournament exists in the first place. Because of that, you're forced to make that decision.
No, not necessarily. I'll give you an example. So again, the England manager at times, or the England manager of football, Gareth Southgate, is sometimes criticized for sticking with his favourites too much. Case in point, Harry Maguire was barely playing for Manchester United, starting week in, week out for England. My point was, I didn't agree with his decision. But he was at least level-headed enough to stick with it, saying, okay, look, he's done well for England. He might not be playing for his club, but he's done well for England when given the chance. I'm going to stick with him. Calvin Phillips is another example. He doesn't get a game for Manchester City. He's not going to sniff game time over there. And he was signed for about 70-80 million pounds, by the way, on the bench all the time. He won a treble win by sitting on the bench, that man. But he starts every week for England. You know why? Because they've given the autonomy to say, look, you make your decision. What success you have, what failure you have. Harry Maguire was getting panned by all and sundry even in 2021. He was one of the key reasons England made it to the final of the Euros. So,
because that style suited him.
Exactly. So
why it doesn't suit for Harry Maguire at Manchester United is because again Eric Ten Hag has been wanting to play from the back.
Exactly.
From the back. That's not what Harry Maguire is good at doing.
Yeah. He's an aerial presence. He'll pass well, but he's not a progressive passer or someone who can play
build-up play
football. Exactly.
But but the holistic picture is, what is England's success?
No, that doesn't matter. The point is,
it will matter now because you're looking at the Indian context also.
No. See, why I'm saying it doesn't matter is because at least they are empowered. They are empowered to take the decisions. If it doesn't work out, if it works out, you're still at least that way you are succeeding or failing by your own merits. Here you are working if you're a head coach. Imagine how bad it must be to be a head coach. When you are hamstrung, you are not given any powers whatsoever, all the major decisions are taken above you, yet you're the fall guy.
That is the thing. See, now what did you say? Empowerment.
There
in England, it's empowerment. Here, the BCCI themselves, in their platitude what they wrote, in the commandment that they wrote, the commandment was that the franchisees will coordinate with the NCA and ensure that the player is rested.
What do you mean coordinate? Exactly.
Okay. They will coordinate with the NCA and then say, oh, this player should be rested. That was the commandment that the BCCI
This is the 1st January release you're talking about.
Yes, 1st January of 2023, which I'm talking about. Okay?
That did never happen, by the way.
That's the difference. Empowerment there hides their mediocrity. So, okay, whatever I do, okay, I'm responsible for my own thing. Okay. Here, there is no hiding because there is no empowerment. As Rohit Sharma said, we are owned by the franchisees for 2 months. Case in point, this Indian cricket team, whatever it is, why did you lose all your ICC tournaments for the past 10 years? There's one common trend. That's not stupid decision making, it's fear. This nation is a feared nation. They are fearful of failure. And the youngsters will be fearful of their spot because they know that some people who have not played, they'll come back automatically. So whatever we do, they'll be wondering, "Arey, yaar, why do I have to contribute? When I know I'm going." In front of camera, you'll have to say, yeah, oh, team platitudes, oh, I have to do it for the team,
I have to play for the team. I have to play fearless cricket. We know our roles.
But privately, see, after 10 years, please let this Indian cricket team moving to 2024 not fool us.
I mean, put it this way, when it comes to, I feel so bad for the likes of a Rinku Singh or for if you're talking about the middle order players, I feel bad for even the openers. I feel bad for Rituraj Jaiswal. I feel bad for Yashasvi. Rituraj Gaikwad. Yeah, I mixed them up.
Yeah.
But Rituraj, Yashasvi, I feel bad for these guys. Because they're going out there and fulfilling their brief. They're living by the sword and dying by the sword. And I can respect that. But you still have some TNs who like, these are the numbers. These are the numbers.
Yeah. But we had a TN, right? For example, Cheteshwar Pujara coming in place of KL Rahul.
In ODIs.
In ODIs. That too was not played over a decade. That too, 2013, it was against whom? Zimbabwe of all teams.
This is the same fan base, by the way, who will troll Babar Azam.
Exactly. That time Zimbabwe isn't too great for you. That's what. This Indian cricket team in 2024, please stop fooling us. That is the only thing that I have to say.
But you're going to be fooled now because again, despite the fact that I was relieved by the fact that we had no seniors, I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
Please read in between the lines of that press release, of that BCCI press release that came. It was a sham. And if anybody who can't read that, stop. Look, listen, think. Please. That's my appeal to all of you guys. So, okay, the home summers ended on a high, at least.
Now the home winter will be started.
Never a doubt.
Yeah, which was never in doubt. But it was bookended by wins at the start, wins at the end, with a very painful chapter in the middle called the World Cup loss. That's the way. You have to move on now. I mean, this series was just testing your mental strength as to that's happened, move on.
How can you move on?
How must you move on?
Speaking of books, I think there's a question that we have with regards
Sarvesh
to the book that governs the game, the rule book.
How can you not have a no ball review in T20? That's what Sarvesh Gaurav was stating.
But to be fair, we've seen the no ball review tried out in places like the WPL, and I've seen it have mixed review.
It is.
I agree.
I get too much time.
I get where he comes from.
Even
that
IPL, weren't we doing it last year?
Oh yeah.
This year, beg your pardon.
But see, don't you have that technology when the third umpire is monitoring each end and then he will give that flash out, that siren? Isn't that enough?
Why did you review?
That review takes far too much time, Sarvesh, I'm telling you.
But now it's mandatory. Front foot, umpires have to check, the third umpire has to check at all times.
Yep, he has to check. See, the third umpire now has got far more work now. He has to monitor every delivery for a no ball. He has to check ultra edges and all those other things when there is a review. So please, the third umpire, already they are stressed. The umpires don't get their due anyway. Because the ultimate fall guy, whenever it comes to a loss, in the case of the Indian thing, it's umpires. And Richard Kettleborough finds it for all the wrong reasons. I don't know why.
He's always the wrong place.
When the Indian fans, if they are opening their eyes and their ears and their mind, they should have a look at the umpiring that is there in this series, which was terrible.
It was bad.
Indian umpires, I'm sorry, anything to do with India, terrible. So that's why.
Do you have an Indian in the elite panel now?
No,
you don't.
You had S. Ravi. After that, gone. 2 years you've not had any.
Anyhow,
Before S. Ravi, 5 years you didn't have anybody.
Shivam, do you have more comments?
Any more comments, please? Sarvesh Gaurav, we have taken 1-2 comments we'll take and then we'll wind up the home summer. Okay. Sindhu Sinha is saying, do you think India pace battery in T20 World Cup playing 11 will be Bumrah, Shami and Siraj? If yes, then what is the use of playing these fast bowlers in all the matches other than World Cups?
Because you need to give your other talent a chance. You don't need bench strength. Otherwise, you don't have bench strength and then you're like, why aren't you playing the other bowlers in bilaterals?
Exactly.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Absolutely. So that's why Sindhu Sinha, there is no right or wrong answer in this. It's a problem of plenty with a dark twist that you're seeing at this point.
Freaking Awesome says, I see this series as a practice for new bunch of players or a relatively new bunch of players. We could have planned a tour to West Indies now rather than before the World Cup. England are playing there now, right tour at the right time. See, I think no.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
See, England are touring now, but it is 6 months to go. And the conditions in December in the West Indies
Are appalling.
change from June. There is no right tour at the right time. And remember, touring before a major ICC event
Impossible.
is, okay, in the Indian context, not possible because it's the IPL. Okay. Second, it has never been proven that any team will win the World Cup or an ICC event if you tour prior to that. Classic case in point, 2003 Pakistan. They were in South Africa for 1 month. Tests, ODIs. But what happened in 2003? They got eliminated in the league stages. The exception can be T20s. Why? England played 3 T20Is before the World Cup in Australia. Pakistan played 5 in New Zealand. They both were the finalists. If you look at 2021,
this year,
India played all their games in the UAE, but yet they couldn't make it to the
but this year Australia were touring you and they won.
I'm saying for T20s it's an exception to the norm.
No, this was ODIs.
But they lost the ODI series.
They lost the ODIs.
But that, again, had it been India, then you said, why have you kept it so close to the World Cup?
But Australia were coming to India for 5 months. Most of the players played the IPL. They played in March. They then came back in September after a brief interlude in the Ashes.
And stayed for 2 months of the World Cup.
Brief.
5 months compared to 2 months.
But still, I mean, the 2 months was consecutive.
Yeah. So that's why Australia had the knowledge of the conditions at the right time. And that's why, see, 99 England, 7, which team went to the West Indies? Pakistan went to West Indies in 2007. What
They
happened?
also got eliminated in the groups. So I don't think it matters that much.
Exactly. So that's
Yeah,
why.
also, I don't think any tour to the West Indies is going to help anyone. Trust me on that.
Absolutely.
It's
It
not.
doesn't help. Because you're going to play in different I think you're going to play in the US most of the games and also in the Caribbean.
Oh, I have to take this comment from Kurtosis, who's nitpicking at his finest, saying that Shane said Virat scored a 137 strike rate as best, while his career strike rate is 138.
Yeah.
Wow. What a big doozy. Even in the Pakistan match, he was 50 or 40 and ended up with that 150 strike rate. Yeah, that 150 strike rate also came with 2 freak sixes, which no one was expecting him to hit. Not even the die-hard of hardcore-ist Viratians were expecting him to hit 2 sixes.
He scored 32 or 14. He was for 50 or 40. He took it to the very end. Luckily, it paid off. Had not paid off, you would have all been
Then you would have panned him. You would have panned him. In fact, we were ready to actually say that what was the approach when you needed 28 of 8 balls. Because you were down in the dumps at that point in time. Let's be very frank.
I mean, come on. You were 11 overs, 45 or 4. Come on.
Yeah. Your approach had as much to do with anything else. Let's not go there.
Any last question and then we can call it quits.
One more question we can take. Akbar Rauf, most pointless series ever? Yes. But not most. You've had other pointless ones, but
I would say after the World T20 of 2021 and 2022, India, New Zealand.
no.
Both the series were pointless.
After the T20 World Cup of 2022, England, Australia.
Yeah.
Being played at the MCG with a capacity of 80k in front of 15,000 people. Even the Aussies didn't care.
But they won that 3-0.
Because the English players were openly saying they'd rather be anywhere else.
Exactly.
Imagine having a bilateral series where players like, yeah, we'd rather be home.
After 2019, the ODI and T20 series that India played against West Indies. After 2019 World Cup semi-final.
It reeked of
exactly.
what even is the point of this.
Yeah.
So actually, if you're talking about most pointless series ever, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Any India-Sri Lanka series of the past 5 years.
Chalo. Anyhow, on that, it's an end to what's been a good summer overall for Indian cricket. But of course, like Siddharth had earlier said, this summer has a chapter which you and I as Indian cricket fans would not want to recall.
The hurt of 2003 for one previous generation. Now they will know how losing in 2023.
It was worse for this generation. You were the favorites. For 2003, you were still the underdog.
The problem is 2023 with social media, it's now going to be amplified, magnified.
Don't remind me.
10x. So that's why Thank you so much, folks, for all the love that you've shown us. Indian cricket takes a 6-day break now. When we come back for the South Africa series, 3 T20Is, very important, 3 ODIs,
Less than the better.
but the 2 tests. The final frontier, India are heading to South Africa for the final frontier.
It'll seem like such an empty victory if you do tests, for crying out loud.
Yeah, when you've been playing 3 tests for so long, you're not downgraded 2 tests.
You were playing 4. In 2018, you played 4.
3.
It was 3. Oh.
You lost in Cape Town, you lost in Centurion,
And then
in
won one.
Johannesburg.
Right.
So that's the thing. So
Terrible.
terrible indeed. But yes, that's how Indian cricket and the vagaries are, my friends. So congratulations, 4-1 series win. Australia finally at home after their Indian sojourn.
But even they are, by the way, now prepping for their summer. Pakistan starting.
Yes, they first of 5 tests that they'll be playing.
They will play 5 tests against Pakistan?
3 against Pakistan and 2 versus the West Indies.
There we go.
Yeah, Brisbane is a day-night test. The only day-night test of the summer is in Brisbane against the West Indies. Pakistan didn't want a day-night test.
I wonder why.
Exactly. So, bye-bye from me, Shane and Harshit. Have a good day.